This full moon in Aries is asking you to look at the courage that you've had over the last 6 months. But really, this full moon also goes back to a solar eclipse that we had in 2024, in April of 2024. Full moons are a time of realization, culmination, release, oftentimes, where the moon, the unconscious, is illuminated to us. This full moon in particular has even an added aspect of hidden truths that are being revealed because Mercury is squaring Pluto. Pluto is the underworld, the subconscious, and Mercury is our thoughts and words, communication. Mars, the ruler of this moon, is in the sign of Scorpio as well, traversing the underworld, gathering courage to face things that we've been afraid to look at. But we're recognizing now that everything that we've been made to fear is actually what's here to liberate us. And this full moon is your invitation to finally be set free. We're going to talk about the Sabian Symbol, the gene key, human design, and of course the astrology of what's happening with this. And we're going to make some meaning out of this through these archetypes. And then we'll go into the all signs where you'll see how this is affecting your sign specifically. This full moon is happening at 14 degrees of Aries. So if you have anything around 14 degrees of Libra, Aries, Capricorn, or Cancer, this is going to be affecting you more strongly. But regardless, 14 degrees Aries, wherever that is in your chart, that's where you're going to be feeling this. This full moon in particular is interesting because it doesn't have a ton of aspects going on. Other than a wide square to Jupiter and of course the opposition to the sun, there's not a lot of stuff happening here. And you add into the fact that the ruler of this moon, Mars, is in Scorpio and it's quincunx the moon, which means that it doesn't have a line of sight to the moon. This is important because once again, it almost feels like there is a wildness to this moon. Now, in order for us to understand this a little bit better, we have to understand what Aries is all about. Aries is really the quintessential courage, independence. It says, I am. When I think about all of the signs, all of them can be attributed to freedom in certain ways. But there are 3 signs that really scream freedom to me. They are Sagittarius, Aquarius, and Aries. But they desire freedom in slightly different ways. Aries desires the freedom to do, to exist exactly as it wishes. It is here to do and be exactly as it wishes. It is here to be a leader. It is here to be a pioneer, not in the way that Leo is often a leader where they stand up and they say, hey guys, this is what you do. Aries just does it. They just live life like that. If we think about the opposition here where the sun is currently at in Libra, Libra has a very different energy. Libra is very much concerned with how other people are going to perceive what they do. The other person comes into play very much when Libras want to make a decision. And Libra is an air sign, so there is more emphasis on thoughts, communication. Whereas Aries is not only a fire sign, but the first fire sign. Very fiery, wanting to move towards something, wanting to take action. That's a type of freedom. It just desires to exist. It's like this existential courage. Now, what's interesting about courage is that if you think about it, courage doesn't really need to exist if there's nothing that we're fearing in that moment. Courage and fear go hand in hand. Scorpio, where Mars is currently at, and Mercury moves into Scorpio the same day as this full moon, there's a very instinctive drive, protective, primitive drive in Scorpio. So fears, while Scorpio can also be very courageous in facing the aspects of life that other people don't want to face, the shadows, the subconscious, the underworld, there is a lot of protectiveness because of their connection to this primitive and primal instinctual aspect of life. Safety is very important to them. Emotional safety, emotional control in a lot of ways, power, which can bring about some of the more secretive aspects of Scorpio energy. But Mars is the warrior, and Mars is the ruler of Aries. So in a lot of ways, Aries represents the warrior archetype in its most fiery of ways, in the ways that it just takes action. It doesn't wait. It doesn't think about the other person. It doesn't think about the far-standing consequences. It says, I just want to move. I've got to do this. That's the courage that we're getting with this full moon. And that's the courage that this full moon is asking us to look at over the last year and a half. So what was happening in your Aries part of your chart, April 2024 and March of 2025? Where did you have courage to move into something new, to take action in a way you hadn't before? What have you learned throughout that process? And like I said, we're going to talk about this a little bit. Now, Mercury just entering Scorpio, already desiring to understand something at its core, at its root, is also squaring Pluto in Aquarius. I recently just did another video on Pluto and Aquarius because these outer transits that we're going through require a lot of consideration. When we think about Mercury square Pluto, Mercury being our mind, Pluto being the underworld, mystery, depth, transformation, this is not a time where we are thinking lightly about things. We are wanting to deeply understand and get to the bottom of something. This is the truths that will set us free. Not only do we have Scorpio energy indicated, which, like I said, in itself, it's courageous, right? The traditional ruler of Scorpio is Mars. Pluto is a secondary, modern ruler. But on top of that, we've got this Aries lunation, saying not only are we having the courage to look at something that scares us, but we're willing to then move with that new information. Courage and safety is found through movement, not only in stillness. A lot of times we believe that stillness and safety have to happen when we are sitting, meditating in stillness, chilling out. But oftentimes the biggest push of courage happens through movement, change, safety. It shows our bodies that we're not running from something, that we're willing to move even though there's fear there. And over time, it trains our bodies to understand that, oh, this thing isn't really that scary because we're able to still move. Now, there's a lot of components to feeling safe in your body, but this is one of them. Sometimes you feel the fear and you sit with it. Other times you feel the fear and you move. This is a time that you're being asked to reflect upon how you felt fear and you still moved, and how you're still here and you're still okay. And maybe you're being asked to do that again. Maybe you're being asked to harness that courage and use it in a different way. What truth have you been avoiding that is here to liberate you? That is here to free you? This is what ultimately shadow work, subconscious work is all about. It's about understanding what is it that we're not wanting to look at that is actually secretly running our entire lives from the background, leaving us really confused on why we're not going where we want to go. All right, well, let's talk about the 15-degree Sabian symbol. We always round up with Sabian symbols unless they're exact, in case you're wondering why I'm doing 15 degrees. And this Sabian symbol is an Indian weaving a blanket. This is my real handwriting. This is trying to do as fast as possible handwriting. Okay, 15 degrees. The key word here is diligence. The theme is active participation. This symbol speaks to pride and personal fulfillment as achieved through creative self-expression. The image of an Indian weaving a blanket focuses on the preservation of cultural values and traditions through art. At the same time, it depicts the pleasure and satisfaction an individual can experience through meeting the needs of others. This symbol is similar to the meaning of the Eight of Pentacles in the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, in that it expresses the pride of a skilled craftsman who is able to artistically express himself and his values through his work in some tangible manner, and at the same time produce goods that meet a basic need in human society. In this symbol, the weaver is creating something that will provide protection from the elements as well as express his skills as an artist. The figure of the weaver also reflects patience and concentration, and as such, it symbolizes the stability and peace of mind that an individual can achieve through being an active and contributing member of society that sustains him. In modern times, this is called being a part of the process. Your greatest advantage lies in putting your talents to practical use for the benefits of others. Fill a need and warm a heart. In my recent Pluto and Aquarius video that I did, I talked about Pluto and Aquarius. I talked about the goal of humanity, and for each human is to salvage our souls. That's the words of Carl Jung. And then I said, but that to me is not the end of the story. The end of the story is that we're here to do that so that we can then pursue something that is a part of our creative expression, that soul work, into the world. In my Uranus and Gemini video, I talked about how this, Jung says, is really the only way that we can mitigate the responsibility, the pain, and the suffering of consciousness. And this has to do with the Promethean myth, which is indicated here because we've got Mercury in Scorpio squaring Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, which is where the Prometheus myth comes from, or what it's associated with, I should say, not what it comes from. Uranus is also about freedom. I often talk about how Pluto is the dying process, whereas Uranus is the rebirth process, and that just makes a lot more sense to me, but both of them are indicated here. So there is a transformation and there is a rebirth that's happening through us. Now, with the Sabian symbol, the keyword being diligence, and it's saying like, hey, patience and concentration, having something that fulfills a need out in the world, but also allows for your creative self-expression. Now, creativity to me is really important. It's honestly like one of the main tenets of my work. I think it's so important for us to have creativity in our lives. Where I find the issue is a lot of us have a misunderstanding of what creativity is. A lot of us will say, oh, well, Jazz, I'm not creative. I'm very logical. I don't paint, I don't draw. So you're telling me that creativity exists as only the physical arts? I disagree completely. I think you're absolutely very, very creative. Creativity is about invention. You can have a creative idea on how to solve a problem, solve a situation. You pick out an outfit. You think about what a room would look like. You craft an experience for your friends and family if they're coming over or if you're meeting them for something. You want them to feel a certain way. You want to tell a story a certain way. You exaggerate one part. Maybe you leave something out. We're all creative. To me, self-expression is an act of creativity. The way that you choose to express yourself, the necklace that I wore, the shirt that I'm wearing, the makeup that I have on, the way my hair is done, it's all creativity. It's all a part of my self-expression. This is saying, how can we do what we like, express ourselves creatively, offer something to the world through patience and concentration that will fulfill a need? The gate here in human design is the hunter or the huntress. This sits in the ego or the heart in human design. The ego, and it is a tribal gate. Tribal gates are gates in which we are being asked to give to or take care of the tribe. So it very much goes with the Sabian symbol. This gate is about having resources so that you can take care of the tribe. And when we talk about the tribe, it is your community, yes, but often transcends just your community. It just depends on what you think tribe is. Sometimes with this gate, there can be this feeling of, because I know how to distribute resources or how to take care of other people, that I have to then have an essence of control. And then the gene key goes from control to authority to valor, okay? But I want to read something that Richard Rudd says about this, because what ends up happening with this gate is that, once again, if it is our belief that we understand how to take care of the tribe, how to take care of other people, then we can become a little controlling. What I've noticed with Aries energy is that the control that Aries has is not like the control that Scorpio has, where it's emotional control, or the control that Taurus likes, which is generally financial control, right? Obviously, like there's nuances there. Aries just controls because they refuse to be controlled. Do you see? Like, in the fact that they refuse for somebody else to control them, they become controlling of other people because they refuse to kind of budge. And I think what's interesting in that Sabian Symbol is said, like, meeting the needs of others being important, bringing it upon that Libra energy, right? I see a lot of Libra Aries in relationships because it kind of just works out. Aries likes to be in charge. Libra will be like, sure, I'm here to, I don't want to have to make decisions. You make the decisions. And they kind of really balance each other out really well in relationships, I've noticed. So this can be the shadow of control, right? And there are ways that this can come through as either being very submissive or controlling, depending on how this shadow is played out. However, authority, the gift here, is very different. If I can get to this page here. Richard Rudd says, authority is a frequency that is determined by intent. Authority cannot be asserted through will. It can only be afforded through trust. True authority unites rather than controls. The 21st gift represents the will of the group, of the tribe. Thus, these people are designed to handle more responsibility than other human beings, since their will directly affects all of those in submission to them. So as we can see, there is a sense of responsibility here with this energy. How can we create from our unique self-expression, moving in our own individual way, how can we create something that is of service to humanity? During this full moon, there can be an impulse to move. But I think what we can lean on, even though Mars in Scorpio is in conjunct to this moon, so it can't see it, is the depth of Mars in Scorpio. We're working on something privately, maybe secretively, something intense, something deep. Mercury is asking us to transform some of our thoughts, transform some of the ways that we speak to one another, that we communicate to others, some of our mindsets around the fears that we have. Last but not least, I really want to do a tarot card reading here. Let's see what the tarot has to say. For this full moon in Aries, can we get advice for, the Star. An Aquarius card with Pluto and Aquarius. In my Pluto in Aquarius video that I recently did, I talked about the future and the vision that we have for the future, and what does that mean? How will we move ahead with progress without losing humanity? This is coming up because Mercury, our mind, squaring off with Pluto, asking us, and at the same time, Pluto is still trine Uranus. I talked about this mini triangle that we have with Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto in my video about myth making with these three planets. So check that out if you haven't. But this is important because there's a bigger theme in the background here. The collective, as you know, is going through major changes on a very big level. Like, it can't be stated enough, but you already know. But just know that the astrology, the human design, it all supports it. 2027, we're changing the global frequency. Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune here. Like, there's endless things. You know, I almost forgot to talk about the Venus South Node conjunction. I might have to make its own video on that because I think that is very important as well. It is the ruler of the sun currently, Venus is. So that's going to be coming into play as well. So when I get the Star, The star is to have hope. Move in a way that instills some sort of hope in you. Let me just tell you a story. I started getting serious about YouTube in April of 2024. And now we're having this lunation that is a culmination of that, as well as on a smaller scale, March 2025. So what courageous leap did you make in April of 2024, maybe March of 2025? So the advice of star, let's see if there's anything else, and just to keep working. The key word for the Sabian symbol was diligence, patience, concentration. 8 of Pentacles is exactly about this type of energy. This is about mastery, about apprenticeship. Keep doing the work that you're doing. How do we get, and 8 of Pentacles is like, he's actually carving pentacles, right? This is the Sabian symbol once again. Create something. What are you creating out in the world? And if you're not creating something physical, what are you creating energetically? How are your actions creating energy out in the world? What are you putting out there? When I made my YouTube video and I started getting really serious about it, I had no idea where it was going to lead. I was still working part-time as a pharmacist. When I started getting serious about this YouTube channel, there was really no plan. Like, it wasn't like, okay, I'm gonna do really well, I'm gonna do this thing. I got to a point where I was so sick and tired of being creatively constipated, not expressing myself to the world, that I was like, I'm just gonna start talking about things I love. That's it. I'm just gonna start talking about things I love. And then like, it started gaining traction, of course, and then the next year I quit my job as a pharmacist, even though I wasn't really making any discernible amount of money on YouTube, or, you know, I barely had any readings that I was doing. So what this energy is telling me is like, do the work, have patience, have diligence. What is it that you know you should be doing right now? Or I don't like to should, you guys. I'm so sorry. I love catching myself when I should myself. What is it that you desire to do? Both Pluto and Mars, the rulers of Scorpio, have to do with desire. Pluto is unconscious desire, Mars is conscious desire. What is it that you desire to do in your life? Can you do it without having an attachment to how the expectation will come, but while also maintaining a hopeful expectation? In one of my recent short videos, I talked about how the goal with all of our work is to do the work and expect that something will come from it. I recently heard this story where this guy was talking about, he's a psychiatrist, I can't remember his name right now. He was talking about, you know, there's a story of like a guy building or digging a trench, and then they're being like on his farm and there's a river. And for 99 days, he is digging out this trench and he's not getting any water. He's not getting any water to his farm. And then on the 100th day, he hits that water and the water comes rushing in. And had he not just kept going to that 100th day, on day 99, imagine, on day 99, if he would have just stopped, he would have never hit the water, and he would have thought, well, why did I even do all that? I wasted all the time. But if he would have just kept going, if he would have just kept taking action towards the thing that he set out to do with diligence and focus and patience, eventually something would have come from that. Where have you been courageous? Where can you get courageous in your life? With hopeful expectation. If you like this video, this is a fraction of the depth that I go to in my readings. I'll always have the link down below. My workshop, Turning Triggers into Gold, is still on my website. I'll have that up for a while because it's going to be one of the primary frameworks that I teach and that I do in my one-on-one sessions. A PACE framework for coming back to the body and alchemizing our triggers into gold. Make sure you subscribe to my Substack, like and subscribe if you like this video. It helps me so much, and I appreciate you guys so much. My Substack is the best place to keep in touch with me, honestly, and to read some of my random reflections that are on there. And without further ado, let's go into the all signs and see how this is affecting you specifically. For For Aries, sun, moon, and rising, you guys have this full moon happening in your first house. Now, the first house is about your identity, new beginnings, your body, health, appearance, your attitude in the world, how you perceive the world. So March 2025, April 2024, those were 2 eclipses that we had in the sign of Aries. In those eclipses, you planted new seeds of a new identity, a new beginning, a new physical appearance. Maybe you wanted to change the way you looked, and maybe some of those things are coming to fruition now. You've got a new state of health, or you look different, or you have a completely new attitude, or you've started a whole new beginning, a whole new identity in your world. This full moon wants to show you how far you've come, and it's also asking you to have the courage to face any fear that is still holding you back from your fullest expression. Your ruler, Mars, is in Scorpio, asking you to dive deep. You guys may be working on something in the background, something private, maybe in secret that you guys are doing. Your actions are kind of very much in the background right now. That's okay. As long as you're moving, that's what your life force energy wants to do. It wants to move. It doesn't need perfection. It doesn't need to know what is on the other side. Aries is here to move. You are the pioneer, you are the trailblazer, you are the warrior, and you get a lot of amazing things from that. But that means that you have to have the courage to move through fear more often than other people. You have to be willing to do the work and walk the walk when you don't know what's on the other side, because you are the one who has that courage. That's what being a leader is about. Your type of leadership, like I said in the beginning of this video, is not about telling people what to do. It's about showing people through your life what it means to have courage, what it means to be independent. What are you bringing forth into this world that is an aspect of your creative self-expression that you're wanting to offer the world? Maybe that's something that you're working on. Maybe that's what you are working on in the background. Now, interestingly, Mercury is in your 8th house, squaring Pluto in your 11th. You may be feeling this push to speak about something online or in a community or in a group of friends that you have. And this is really important. It might be something about psychology. It might be something really deep or about occult. It may be something that you would rather not say, but you're being asked to have courage to say it anyway because it's important. Not just for you, but for the collective. Your voice is really important right now. We need your perspectives. We need your courage right now. So when you're thinking about this, thinking about like, it's not just about me, but it's about other people, right? The sun is in the 7th house. How can I be of service to them through having the courage to say the things that I'm maybe a little bit scared to say? Let's do a little tarot card reading and see what comes up for your advice. Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, you're being asked to create something. You're being asked to make something physical. Whenever I see the Queen of Pentacles, I'm reminded that she is very balanced in that she takes care of her emotional realm, but also is able to bring something of form into the world, to take care of others, to take care of oneself emotionally and financially in some way. So what is it that you're working on? You know, it's like, I'm getting this feeling that you guys are, you're working on something that is, or you're being asked to work on something, or maybe you've completed something that you've offered to the world that is of some value. You're being asked to really, the queen to me, it's not the king, right? So it's still a position of leadership, but it's in a more feminine, and not even, not passive. What's the word I'm looking for? You know what? Tell me. Receptive. It's a more receptive way of leadership by taking the other people's perspective into account, but not then letting that drown your voice. Aries, let me know how that resonates. If you guys want to do a one-on-one with me, I'll have the link in the description down below. I'll see you guys next time. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. you guys have this full moon happening in your 12th house, culmination of the eclipse in March of 2025 in your 12th house, and the one in April 2024 in your 12th house. So the 12th house is your subconscious. It is hidden from you. This is a place of solitude, dreams. Your sleep may be restless around this time whenever we have a full moon, for most people anyway, but especially when it's in the 12th house. You may be traveling or wanting to do some long distance travel. This is the house of long distance travel, meditation. Think about your journey around all of these things over the last 6 months, but also the last year and a half. Because those eclipses stirred in your subconscious, it may have been something that would be difficult to pinpoint, but this is also, this has been dredging up a lot of hidden fears, a lot of hidden patterns for you to be able to then reconcile them to some extent. And this full moon in particular is for you to really see what's happening as much as you can with the 12th house anyway, and stop letting those shadows quietly run your life from the background. You're being asked to confront them head on. Now, for you specifically, you've got Mercury in the 7th house and your ruler Venus conjunct the South Node, okay? So Mercury is squaring Pluto. Yeah, I would say definitely be talking to people, definitely be open to conversations. You're going to maybe see, like I said, something about your career, or you're going to see maybe somebody's sharing a secret with you. Maybe you're having a secret relationship going on in the background, not necessarily secret, it could just be private. But maybe there are conversations happening in that relationship. The biggest thing I'm getting is like trying to understand and get clarity around these patterns that are running in the background, that have been running in the background, and then also getting clarity on relationships and who is really supporting you. Two of Wands, I'm sensing that a lot of you guys are desiring to travel, desiring to explore, desiring to get back out into the world. This is also a card where you're in the planning stages of something. Maybe it's something with your career, maybe it's something with your relationship. I feel like for a lot of you guys, something is coming out, some sort of realization or illumination around work. And how you provide service to other people is also coming to change, but maybe you're still in the planning phases of something different. Yeah, Taurus, let me know how this resonates. If you want to go into this work deeper with me, I'll have my link in the description down below, and I'll see you next time. Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. You guys have this happening in your 11th house. This full moon's happening in your 11th house. Think back to March of 2025, April of 2024, when we had eclipses here. What's been going on for you since then regarding your friendships, the communities you belong to, your online presence, your dreams and visions for the future? Maybe those eclipses brought new visions for community and belonging, or some sort of online presence. This moon is asking you to also just take up and reclaim or claim your voice, your fiery presence. You know, Geminis, we tend to be chameleons. It's a natural gift of ours. Like, people say we're two-faced, but that's not true. We have an amazing ability to adapt to situations. That's a gift, okay? Yes, can it be a shadow? Absolutely. But I'm biased as a Gemini, okay? But one of the things that can do sometimes for us is that we lose a sense of our self-expression because we know how to blend in so well. This lunation is asking you to reflect upon the journey you've come around that. Maybe you've come a long way, and are there still fears that hold you back? When I think about Mercury and Mars in your 6th house, Mars like being there, you might be working on some sort of work project in the background, maybe some health project, maybe you're trying to get back into shape or something. But Mercury here is also inviting you to have conversations in the workspace if necessary, in any sort of unequal partnerships if necessary. And this is actually a huge part, squaring Pluto and Aquarius, of you reclaiming your authority as a teacher, as a mentor. And if you're not a teacher or a mentor, it's about embodying the energy of one. Mercury and Mars in the 6th ask you, like, what are you willing to be responsible for? What is your responsibility and what is not your responsibility? And getting really clear about that. And like I said, let yourself be witnessed in that 11th house spaces, the communities, friendships, online. Let your fiery nature come out, whatever that means to you. If your fiery nature is actually quite shy, but that's the way you like to express yourself, then that's fine. But it's saying, have the courage to be you. That's really what it's saying. Let's see if the tarot has Ace of Cups. Interesting. This is going to require you to muster up some emotional courage. Mars in Scorpio, Mercury in Scorpio. This is very much about emotional courage. But I'm also looking at this Venus South Node conjunction that's happening. And by the way, Mercury is your ruler, right? So being in Scorpio, a new emotional beginning, very likely emotional transformation, right? But I'm also looking at that Venus South Node conjunction in your 4th house, which I'll hopefully do a video about, which is asking you to release old emotional stories that are keeping you feeling like you don't get to stand out. You can't say the things that you want to say. You can't express yourselves the way you want to express yourselves because when you did it as a child possibly, or when you did it when you were younger, things didn't go well. It's asking you to release that and step into a new emotional beginning. Geminis, let me know how this resonates for you. If you want to do this work with me one-on-one, I'll have my link in the description down below. I'll see you guys next time. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. You guys have this full moon happening in your 10th house, career, public reputation, status, authority, achievements. Now, if you think back to the eclipses, March 2025, April 2024, they set a new tone for your career and public life. And this full moon is showing you if you've been shrinking back or hiding behind safety still, it's asking you to have some courage to step up and take this position of authority in your life. Jupiter being in your 1st house and it's squaring this moon as well, it's like the ways that you're growing in your personal life, in your identity and who you are, is that coming through your career? Is that coming through your authority, your public status? Are people really able to see that newer version of you, or are you still hiding? There's a bolder and more authentic and more courageous aspect of you that's wanting to come through your career and your public life. And then you have Mercury square Pluto. Now, Pluto is currently in your 8th house, bringing up a lot of deep psychological woundings for you to transform them, of course. And Mercury and Mars, the ruler of this moon, are in the 5th house. You may be feeling some power struggles with romantic partners or your children. Really, I see this being places where you have a deep emotional connection to the person because Pluto is in the 8th house, or you may be really coming up against a desire to put your creative work and your creative self-expression out in the world, but then facing these like deep wounds around being seen. These are like relational woundings, relational triggers that you have, that you feel like you can't express yourself and be accepted in this emotional, intimate, vulnerable way. How can you steady yourself in your self-expression without trying to control the other person or control the situation, but also not collapsing and giving in? This is kind of like intense power struggles through communication is what I'm seeing as well. So just be wary of that. Like Mars even squaring Pluto, it's kind of loose, but Mars squaring Pluto even can say like even the way that you're trying to move through the world could bring up some old power struggles in your life. So just being wary of this, right? And saying like, how can you show up in a way that honors the self while not abandoning the other person? Let's see if we have a advice card for you. You're being asked to step away from a unsatisfactory situation walking away from something that is no longer emotionally fulfilling you. This could be a creative pursuit because of the 5th house. This could be a relationship, a dating situation that you're in. Yeah, there is a sense that there is something lost here, but I always remember with the 8 of Cups, the next card is the 9 of Cups, which is wish fulfillment. And you can't have your wishes fulfilled if you're staying in situations that are bringing you down or that are just no longer in alignment with you and who you are becoming or what you are creating, right? Like this could honestly be like, yeah, some sort of old way of expressing yourself could be coming to an end, which can be really amazing and transformative as well. Just depends on the situation. If you want to go deeper in your chart to see how this is showing up in your life, you can book a session with me down in the link in the description is down below. I'll see you guys next time. For Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, you guys have this full moon happening in your 9th house. This is a house of publication. Oh, I already got a tarot card for you guys. Oh, okay. Publication, travel, purpose, truth, meaning, mentorship, higher education, law and legalities. So think back to the eclipses, March 2025, April 2024. They may have cracked open your hunger for expansion, truth, and purpose in your life. And this full moon is asking, will you allow yourself to get a little uncomfortable, stretch a little bit more, and actually risk to live your philosophy? This is not about, like, you're being asked, Leo risings, you know, I'm a Leo rising. Saturn going back into the 8th, it really feels like we're being pulled back inward to figure some stuff out because we're really being asked to like walk the walk. I talk about this with Aries, like Aries leadership is a little bit different than Leo's because we tend to be like very royal leaders, like, yes, you should do this, and righteous and prideful. And Aries is more like, I'm just doing the damn thing, you know? And we're being asked to kind of marry those two things. Like, yes, you can be telling people how to live, all these things, but you have to be willing to risk and live the philosophy that you have rather than just always giving really good advice. Like, are you following your advice? Are you having the courage to do that? Can you say yes to the adventure that's right in front of you? And even if you feel like you're not ready, or that it's too soon, or that it's too big. Because imagine what position of leadership you could be in after you take this leap. Whatever this is. Maybe it's education, maybe it's travel, maybe it's expansion, maybe it's teaching. Okay, then you have Pluto in the 7th and Mercury in the 4th house along with Mars. You guys might be working on some sort of secret project at home, or something in the background. Maybe you're working on cutting out like old emotional patterns, Mars in the 4th house. But whenever I see for fire signs, especially right now, because Mars in Scorpio is in your water houses. So something in the background, something very emotional, some emotional alchemy happening for you guys for sure. But then you've got Mercury here squaring Pluto. So some intimate conversations or conversations having to be had with family members that are important, or possibly a partner in the home that you live with that are very important. Yeah, if there's anything that needs to be said in the private sphere or with the family, that may become very important for your evolution in relationships and how you grow in them, how you transform in them. Maybe something that you say will actually help somebody really go through a major transformative process as well. Your guys' ruler, the sun, is in the 3rd house, opposing this. So maybe you're wanting to learn something. Maybe you're wanting to speak or express yourself through words in some way, in order to fulfill the 9th house things. Maybe you need to have communications with those close to you. This is a card of balance, and it's making me feel like you guys are not doing I don't know, maybe you are. Use your discernment, right? This is not a personal reading. If you want a personal reading, you can do that. But it's making me feel like maybe there's like some sort of an imbalance here around like your daily routines and your visions. So like something's not matching up there. Like either your day-to-day is like is it there's a mismatch, like you're doing too much day-to-day, and so it's not allowing you to like hold the vision and not really like take that risk because you're like depleted in some way. So this is asking you to kind of rebalance. Maybe it's finances. I don't know. It could be a lot of things. Let me see if the tarot. Yeah, I'm thinking it's actually finances now that I think about it. You're being asked to rebalance your finances in some way, your self-care. I'm looking at that Venus South Node conjunction. We'll talk about that later. So that you can take the risks that you are being asked to take right now. Leos, let me know how this resonates. I'll see you guys next time. Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This full moon is happening in your 8th house. Intimacy, vulnerability, shared resources, debts. I want you to think about the eclipse that we had in this part of your chart, March 2025, April 2024. Those eclipses may have shook up your intimate lives, your shared resources, money that isn't yours, or investments, or if you share resources with a partner, maybe even shook up some trust and brought up some trust issues or some power struggles in the give and take of your relationships. This moon brings the push to act differently. Deeper honesty, more courage in vulnerability, new boundaries in relationships, maybe new boundaries with money, new choices regarding money. What feels scary to reveal to another person right now is very much the thing that could really, really bring you closer to them. There is some sort of illumination here around money and your role in relationships, in deep, intimate partnerships. Now, you have Mars in your 3rd house. So communication could feel fiery. I find that whenever Mars is in 3rd, we maybe feel a little bit busy as well. And then Mercury, your ruler, is also in Scorpio now. Mercury, your ruler being in Scorpio, brings a depth to you right now, a desire to go really deep and figure out whatever it is that's going on in your life, because Mercury is squaring Pluto in your 6th house. So if there is any situation where you are feeling like unequal partnerships, or you're feeling like something at work or around service and responsibility or health is coming up, you're going to want to definitely have those conversations. This could even be with having conversations with your siblings, neighbors, people in your immediate environment, or maybe learning secrets from them, or them opening up to you, or maybe you opening up to them, so that you can get something out in the open and clear up any imbalances that you're having in relationships. When I see this kind of energy, it can be kind of like conflict energy with people in your surrounding environment. But remember, conflict is not bad. Conflict is not bad. It's how we handle conflict. And with Scorpio energy being present here, it's really saying that there's an ability to transform here. And that's really great. Let's see if there's any messages from the tarot. Ooh. Deception. You know, when the 7 of Swords comes up, I often think about self-deception, like the ways in which let's just think about this. This is happening in your 8th house. This full moon is. What is the 8th house? The 8th house is the house of Scorpio. What is Scorpio? Shadows, underworld. I think you're going to be illuminated to the ways that you yourself keep yourself in patterns that you don't like, especially in relationships. I think you're being illuminated to, like I said earlier, like it's asking for deeper honesty and new boundaries. Because when I think about this card, and the card after this is the 8 of Swords, and so like how our own self-deception by not taking responsibility over aspects of ourselves that we need to take responsibility over, not because, you know, I always say, Virgos, you guys are like the masters of self-help. You're always wanting to improve, always wanting to improve. And I love that about Virgos. But that doesn't mean that you're not prone to having shadows. We all have shadows, right? And it's like how much you're willing to face them right now to see that a lot of your, I'm just feeling like it's relational. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of your relational stuff is like actually you refusing to take responsibility for something. And I love my Virgos because I feel like you guys can handle this type of advice. You're like, okay, got it. How can I grow? You know? And you know, I say it with lots of love as a progressed Virgo rising myself. Now I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Anyway, Virgo, let me know how this resonates for you. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to work with me. I'll have my link in the description down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Libra, sun, moon, and rising. Hello. You guys have this full moon happening in your 7th house. So relationships, other people, one-on-one partnerships. Now, if you think back to the eclipses, March 2025, April 2024, those eclipses were really meant to recalibrate your relationships, forcing you to look at the way that you balance. That was when the nodes were in your sign, except for March of this year, they were in Pisces. But the one in April of last year was when the South node was in your sign. I know a lot of you guys had kind of a difficult time during that time. This moon highlights exactly where compromise turns into self-abandonment. This is a trap that I see a lot of Libra risings, especially, but Libra suns, I mean, all Libra energy, right? Because you guys are so naturally attuned to the other, which is such a gift, by the way, right? Like we need that. Otherwise, Aries energy would just go off, you know, and be crazy and not care about anybody else and how they affect the other people in their lives. And you are also, got the hangman for you guys. You are also being asked to stand in your truth in relationships. How can you find balance even in the midst of disharmony, right? Like learning about conflict and how to meet that in a way that doesn't mean you self-abandon, that you don't people please, but that you also like take in other people's desires. Your ruler is going through a South Node conjunction at this time, or just a few days before, but you're still feeling it. I'll have another video on that hopefully. But that's your ruler, so it becomes very important for you. Then we have Mars in Scorpio. So maybe you guys are like really focusing on money and how to create stability in your lives, how to increase your sense of self-worth and value in your life as well. The Hangman is saying like, listen, don't be impulsive. Aries energy can be quite impulsive. It's saying don't be impulsive, chill out for a little bit. If you are an Aries or a Libra sun, moon, or rising that is kind of in this like space where nothing's really happening, or you've been pushed into a standstill or something, this is very necessary for you to get a different perspective, a deeper understanding, this so that you can recalibrate your life accordingly. And this, for some of you guys, may have something to do with work, because you have energy in your 6th house, energy in your 10th house, energy in your 2nd house. So this is very financial. This is very material. Work, money, career are all on your mind right now. And Mercury squaring Pluto in your 5th is like, how can I make money doing what I love? That's a very quintessential energy there. How do I express myself and make money? Can I express myself in a way that honors my self-worth and that doesn't require me to devalue myself? This is transformation in love relationships too. So in romance, how can I speak up in romance in a way that honors my value, that honors my worth? And this can actually be very transformative for your love and romantic life, as well as your creativity and self-expression. But regardless, I think the biggest thing for you guys is like, if you're being asked to pause, there's a reason for it. Try your best to not be impulsive, and rather focus on building that wealth, that new job, or making sure that you maintain a sense of worth and value in your communications and in everything that you're doing right now. Libras, let me know how this resonates for you guys. If you like my work, please like and subscribe. If you want to do a reading with me, I'll have my link in the description. I'll see you guys next time. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. I say this because Mercury and Mars are in your sign. This full moon is happening in your 6th house. This is about health, habits, work, responsibility, what you're willing to work hard for. This is also a house of unequal partnerships and conflict. So something may be coming to a fruition around conflict or litigation. Maybe you're fighting with somebody. I don't know. Now, I want you to think back to the eclipses that we had in March of 2025, April of 2024 in this part of your chart. So something may have began there and that is now coming to fruition or culmination, or something you're realizing that needs to be released around those themes. So a health routine, some sort of issue with your health, illness, litigation, like I said, a way that you show up in conflict. This could be a change of work or a change of pace at work. So the way that you move around in work as well. Now, because this ruler of this lunation is in your 1st house, well, you are definitely wanting to step into your own right now. Mars gives courage, and you guys are ruled by Mars traditionally, right? And Pluto. You're being really asked to forge a new identity right now. And not to just forge a new identity, but also to speak from an empowered place. This is a brand new beginning in a lot of ways in how you take action out in the world. Something is asking for you to change how you take action, how you think, how you speak. This is requiring, though, a lot of bringing up old emotional patterns that you've had probably since childhood, that were instilled in you since you were very, very young, that maybe made you feel like you couldn't be open and expressive about certain things. Now listen, Scorpio is generally a private sign. There's nothing wrong with being a private sign. The problem happens not when you're private, but when nobody knows you. When that privacy becomes secrecy, when it becomes like a safety measure that you don't let other people in. Scorpio so deeply desires that intimacy and that depth, but then also deeply fears it. So there's a brand new start happening in the way that you show up in the world. This is so important. And like I said, it might do something with your body. It might have something to do with health, something like that. The 1st house is the body and the 6th house is illness and the 1st house is health. So a lot of things around health could be coming up, or like I said, the body in some way, moving the body, getting that energy out in a different way. Mercury being in your sign too also gives your word extra power. So being mindful of what you're saying and to use them to transform rather than to destroy. And thinking about some of the shadows there. Right? I'm sure you guys aren't purposely going around trying to destroy people, but in the quest for emotional safety, sometimes Scorpio can be kind of ruthless. Let's see if there's anything here. Page of Swords. Yeah, communication. Yes. This could also be indicative of a new idea, or maybe not so much a new idea, but maybe it's an old idea that maybe came across at one of the eclipses that you're now being asked to take action on. But also this is just alluding to me, look at your thoughts, look at your words, or listen to your words, being very discerning about the thoughts that you're having, the words that you're saying. They can be very, very powerful at this time. Lilith is still in Scorpio as well. So, yeah, that's what I would say about that. Let me know how that resonates for you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like my content. If you guys want to work with me, I'll have my link in the description down below. I'll see you guys next time. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. You guys have this full moon in Aries happening in your 5th house. This is about self-expression, creativity, children, romance, entertainment, joy, pleasure, fun. Think about the eclipses in March of 2025 and April of 2024 around those themes. What around those themes is coming to fruition? Maybe there was a new way of creatively expressing yourself. Maybe there was a desire to show up in romance in a different way that is now coming to fruition for you guys. Those eclipses could have also just really ignited your desire for play and your creative fire. This full moon brings a sense of urgency to that too. Like, you've come a long way, and being really mindful of that, and also asking you to stop waiting and to put your joy front and center. Creating for yourself. This is opposing the sun in the 11th house, which is about community, right? So yes, being mindful, if we think about the Sabian symbol, being mindful of how this is going to help or hurt other people, but putting your joy at the center of it and knowing that your best creations come when you put your joy in the center, when you are willing to express your bold, fiery self. Follow your spark and allow opportunities from your community to come through that way rather than trying to control it. Control what opportunity is coming, who's seeing you. You know, it's like, just see what naturally flows in when you listen to that creative spark. Be wary of being really impulsive, because your guys' ruler is Jupiter, and Jupiter is squaring this moon, and this moon is not really touching a lot of other stuff. I mean, it's got a little bit with Jupiter and obviously opposing the sun. But yeah, Jupiter expands, right? So you guys might be feeling a little explosive that day. Instead, channel that energy for creativity. Mercury is in your 12th, squaring Pluto in your 3rd. You may be having some messages come through in your dreams. Mars is in your 12th house. When Mars is in the 12th house, we're definitely feeling private. We're wanting to go inward. Maybe you're working on some subconscious stuff during this time. Maybe you're wanting to go into retreat or travel and get away. You're wanting to be alone during this time. A lot of energy in the 12th and 4th and even the 8th house, yes, during this time, even though it's happening in your 5th house, this full moon is. Yeah, it's saying like, you may get some messages through your dreams or in hidden spaces or during meditation in solitude. I had another sign that got this. Oh no, that was a different card. Okay, we'll talk about this in a second. I wonder if there's something going on around competition. I don't know, because when I get this, it makes me think about like, there's conflict or loss or defeat. Like, you're fighting battles that don't matter and then losing the war. That's the kind of energy that I'm getting. So just be wary. Like, that's the impulsion I'm feeling. Like how can we rein in those impulses if you're feeling like ready to attack or ready to go after something? Because once again, Mercury and Mars are in your 12th. Like, this energy is very inward. You're being asked to look within to see where those shadows are within you that are holding anything back, because it's squaring Pluto in your 3rd. So there's a transformation happening in the way that you speak and the way that you think. But that also can mean like in very intense conversations that you're having. Try to rein in those impulses and focus. Generally, Sagittarius has a good easy time doing this, but just a reminder, focus on the war, not the battle. So Sagittarius, let me know how this resonates for you guys. If you want to go deeper with me, I offer one-on-one sessions. I'll have the link down in the description box below, and I'll see you guys next time. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. You guys have this full moon happening in your 4th house. The fourth house is the deepest part of our chart. It's our home, our emotional home, our family, our emotional foundations, our ancestry, our roots. The eclipses in April 2024 and March 2025 may have really rattled your foundations, all those fourth house things. Maybe you've moved since then as well, or a lot of changes have happened in your home life or in your emotional foundations. This moon gives you the courage to act. If there is a move that you've been avoiding, or change in the home that you've been avoiding, this is asking you to have the courage to begin that. Speak your truth. Take the space that you need to take in your home, however that shows up. Like maybe there's just like a way that you need to stand up for yourself or stand up for somebody else in the home. That is very indicative right now. And when I think about this energy in the fourth house, and then the sun is in the 10th, this is about like reestablishing authority in your home. And even if it's not your home and it's like your emotional roots and your foundations, reestablishing authority with yourself is also very important in regaining your self-trust that you can handle things. So regardless of how that is showing up, let's see what the tarot has to say actually. Mercury is in your 11th house, squaring Pluto in your 2nd. There's a lot of changes happening in your values and the ways that you make money. Obviously, it's a long-term transit with Pluto there. But Mercury might have you having conversations around money, possibly with the organization that you're in, with your friends. You may be having a lot of deep conversations with your friends or posting things on social media. Oh, interesting. There's a decision that has to be made that you don't feel like you can make. There's a sense of indecision, which is interesting for my Capricorns. You guys are generally a little bit more decisive, right? Being a cardinal sign, but it seems like there's some indecision. I wonder if it has to do with your career because you've got sun in Libra there. And maybe you're just, you're not really sure. Maybe there's a part of you that has already been making moves in the background on like how to change the organization that you're with. Maybe you're having a lot of questions around your friend groups as well and like doing a lot of deep contemplation around those things. What's this indecision about? I'm not trying to pull two cards, but so there's some sort of a cycle, a larger cycle around how you make decisions that is being asked to end. Maybe this is in your home. Maybe this is in your work. I don't know. But if you want to do a deeper reading with your chart, we can definitely do that. I have my link in the description. But for this general reading, there's a cycle around decision making. Like it almost feels like whatever decision you're being asked to make in your home or in your work, whatever, is a part of a bigger cycle of you standing your ground, having the courage to speak your truth and to move in the ways that you want to move. Capricorn, let me know how this resonates. Please like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll see you guys next time. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. You guys have this full moon happening in your 3rd house. This 3rd house is about your immediate environment. It's about communication, learning, neighbors, siblings, cousins, your mindset as well. So think back to March of 2025, April of 2024, where we had eclipses in this part of your chart. Those eclipses seeded a new way of thinking or communicating or, using your words. This moon presses you to say what you need to say. Put the words out there. I think for a lot of you guys, this is really about communication. Like, do you need to write a blog? Do you need to put say something? It could be in your immediate surroundings too. So like local environment, maybe you need to start speaking to people in your neighborhood or something like that, or your siblings, have a conversation with them. I don't know, but there's something about communication. Maybe there's an idea that you've been wanting to pitch because the sun is in the 9th house. So maybe there's like a idea that you have or a belief that you have that you're being asked to share. Aquarius, you guys have a lot of power right now with Pluto in your 1st. Speaking about Pluto in your 1st, squaring Mercury in your 10th. Some conversations may have to be had around career, public status, reputation. Where are you headed in life? Is this where you want to go? Mars in your 10th says that you may be secretly working on like having some conversations or doing some stuff in the background around changing your career. Or maybe there's some changes happening at work with your boss or authorities. Mercury here, like I said, some conversations need to happen with some authority figures, possibly. Maybe for some of you guys as well, you're making your words more public. Pluto in the 1st, squaring Mercury in the 10th. There's something that needs to be said that you guys need to say. I don't know. That's how it's coming up. Okay. Yeah, I mean, your words can really cut through the fog for others right now. So, but if your words are holding you hostage, then they're not going to free anybody else. They need to free you first. Ooh, yeah. Abundance, money, fulfillment. I often say with the 10 of Pentacles that like a lot of times it comes through though when you have an external success, like people might look at you and be like, yeah, she's good, or he's good. But you're like, this doesn't really fulfill me. It's like a reminder that our abundance is meant to be shared and to go towards the things that we love and that we believe in. So if that's you, obviously this is general reading. If you want a deeper reading with, your charts, we can definitely do that as well. But this is a general reading. So it could go a lot of different ways, but it could be for some of you guys that you've reached some sort of success or your life seems fine on the outside, but you're yearning for deeper meaning and an opportunity to make abundance that actually matters in the world. For others of you guys, speaking out and talking about your truth, having the conversations that need to be had can lead to financial abundance. Aquarius, let me know how this resonates. Please like and subscribe if you like my content. I'll see you guys next time. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising. You guys have this full moon happening in your 2nd house. This is about money, self-worth, value. Sometimes it's the food we eat as well. So maybe some of you guys with the last eclipse 6 months ago, or even the April 2024 eclipse, which has a really direct correlation here in this part of your chart, made some dietary changes. Oh my goodness. You guys got a card already. I don't feel like bending down. Ugh. The Emperor. This is Aries card. How interesting. Okay. Yeah, so maybe some changes to the way that you eat, or what you put in your mouth, what kind of food you eat. Or there's a new way of making money that you'd wanted to do, and now it's culminated into something. You're making money in a new way. You have a new sense of worth and value. This eclipse, or those eclipses, really did redefine your relationship to money and value as well. Now this one, this full moon, this culmination is asking like, where are you still undervaluing yourself? Where are you still letting other people run the show? And what bold choice could you do to change that now? Like, where are you not claiming your value? Because claiming your value is what sets the standard for everything else. How other people treat you, if you're not treating yourself well, if you're not treating yourself with love and respect, then people are going to say, oh, this is how she treats herself, or this is how he treats himself. And they're going to just follow that, right? Because you've got the sun in the 8th house. So this is illuminating some shadows here as well around money, around intimacy, how you value yourself versus how other people value you. Then you've got Mercury in Scorpio in your 9th house along with Mars. So maybe you guys are like really diving deep into some learning endeavor. Maybe you've gone back to school, or maybe you're taking like a I would say the 9th house is generally like higher education, but it can also be like anything that's long-term. So like long-term learning that you're doing right now, maybe that's really interesting you right now. But then you've got this Mercury in the 9th house in Scorpio squaring Pluto in the 12th. So actually, like, there could be some conversations that you have with a mentor that can really help transform your subconscious mind There's something that you could be learning that can also be helping transform that subconscious mind. Traveling could be also very transformative for you guys right now as well, like long distance traveling especially. But also Mercury in Scorpio is asking you to face deeper truths about belief systems and philosophies that you've outgrown. And this could even be like, for some of you guys, this is general, right? If you want to do a deeper dive into your chart, I have my link in the description down below. But for this general, this even could be like some dogma that you guys are undoing from like childhood or like growing up, that you guys are being asked to really look at, that is in some ways still holding you back subconsciously. Yeah. There's a lot for Pisces as well, like that you guys are having to change around how you relate to other people. But I think the root of it is honestly how you value yourself and how you take action out in the world. The Emperor says you are meant to be leading something. You're not meant to be in the background right now. You're meant to be at the forefront. This is literally Aries card. Like, you're being asked to be courageous, to step into a new way of making money, possibly. And this could even be like a side hobby that you're making money on, or start moving in the world like you value yourself. Set the standard. You are worthy of being treated like the powerful, powerful person that you are. I love my Pisces. Let me know how this resonates for you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.